I want to talk about the ridiculous megalomania of Dr. Fauci. Now, Dr. Fauci was recently on Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan, and he sort of got into a argument about Ted Cruz. Listen.
Senator Cruz told the Attorney General you should be prosecuted.
Yeah. I have to laugh at that. I should be prosecuted. What happened on January 6th, Senator?
What happened on January 6th? I mean, first of all, this should dispel by itself any doubt that Dr. Fauci is thoroughly political. I mean, Debbie was actually one time kind of a fan of Fauci. I used to at home call her Fauci because she'd be a Dr. Fauci says. But I think she's realized that this guy is, he's not consistent. He's not really, he says he's standing up for the science, but somehow the science disappears when it comes to people coming across the border, being let in without a COVID test, without a vaccine. When it comes to BLM rights, when it comes to Obama's birthday bash, somehow Dr. Fauci goes into dead silence. So the kind of inconsistency of it is kind of a tip-off because obviously science doesn't play politics and presumably neither does the virus. Now, turning to Ted Cruz, I mean, this insinuation about January 6th is amazing. I mean, is Fauci implying that no one's being prosecuted for January 6th? On the contrary, as we know, there's vicious and vehement and unceasing efforts to prosecute people. Now, Ted Cruz is not somebody who was involved. He was giving a speech on the Senate floor. So what is Fauci implying? That Ted Cruz needs to be? Ted Cruz hasn't even been subpoenaed by the January 6th Commission. And by the way, if you look at January 6th and compare it to COVID, just look at it just in terms of the sheer carnage. Well, in January 6th, you have one, maybe two casualties, depending on whether you count Roseanne Boyland. But look at the carnage that COVID has created worldwide. 5 million deaths, 800,000 in the United States alone. So when Ted Cruz raises the question about Fauci, what did he have to do with this? It's a question, and it does deserve an answer. Now, at one point in the same interview, Fauci says, I'm now quoting him here, if you're attacking me, you're attacking science. And this I find to be a statement of extreme megalomania, because science is a process of sort of trying to figure out the truth. Science arrives at provisional judgments, and particularly when you're dealing with a new phenomenon, the idea that the science is somehow automatically settled and that it's all embodied in one man. I mean, even Einstein wouldn't presume to this kind of megalomania. Einstein, in fact, was wrong on many things, and in some cases forced to admit he was wrong. Einstein didn't even realize that his own equations predicted the idea that the universe had a beginning. It took a Russian scientist, Friedman, to point it out to Einstein. Einstein was initially very dismissive, but eventually, yep, you're right. Einstein was also very much against the idea of quantum physics. You had Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg and the other quantum guys on the one side, you had Einstein on the other, and guess who turned out to be right? The quantum guys, not Einstein. So what this shows you is that science is in flux, and debates about the meaning of science and what science really points to are debates about sorting out evidence and forming provisional judgments, always open to revision. So it's very hard for me to see someone who claims to represent science. I am science. Any criticism of me is criticism of science. That itself seems to me to reflect a spirit very alien to the scientific spirit itself.